Welcome back to Rose Cottage Acres, everybody. It's a beautiful May evening, so I thought we'd do a tour of the garden.
To be very careful walking by here, because if I don't walk by just right, she dive bombs us. So I have the last of my covers airing out and drying so I can store it away, because it's gotten warm enough that for the most part everyone's okay just out in the garden. Starting here at the corner, just my few little spindly onions that I tried the overwintering experiment with old Alabama gardener. My zone 7 is a lot different, I think, than his, so didn't work out great for me, but I did have some stead all winter long. So fava beans are looking pretty good. We had some really hard rains, so they fell a little bit, and then one of my little guys here, one of my garlics, kind of flopped over, so I staked him up too. Now, the first bed on my left, you see somehow my carrot spacing was not the best, so I've got a clump up there. But carrots all came up pretty good, and my beets came up pretty good. There's my little artichoke, my little scarlet kales, and this is a perennial kale that didn't go to seed. This is a piece that had a root on it that had rooted itself. I moved over here because I definitely want to keep perennial kales that don't go to seed. So dwarf recurled kale, and then 3 rows of turnips. No idea what I was thinking. Turnips are fine, but we don't eat a lot of them. I guess I was thinking turnip greens. Now, volunteer sunflower came up, but none of the orach, I don't know how you pronounce that, is a spinach type plant. So I replanted, we'll see how that goes. And then 3 rows of traditional spinach. Now these were beets, and they were kind of sporadic. We got a really good germination there, and back there, and then kind of nothing. So I'm seeding some eggplants along here as well, and then I've got some cabbages in on the end. Put my baby tomatoes out. They were kind of not getting enough nutrients and were getting grumpy, so I had to move them out. This is my sweet little baby cauliflower, covered up to keep the cabbage worms hopefully away from him. He's doing pretty good. Now, like I said, we did have a big rain, and my pathways are doing their job, which is to control where the water goes and to suck it all up, but I don't have enough mulch down, so I do have a couple of spots. And my Perennial berry, obviously I must have had a pretty heavy rain come over here and wash that away. My compost bins were growing volunteer plants, so I figured why not, and I've put squash in one and melon in another because I'm not going to use these bins for a long time. All right, let's see, next row. This is beans and a row of spinach in between. These are bush beans. My potatoes coming up pretty good. My leeks settling in pretty nice, and also leeks over here. And my onions, again, settling in very nice. And then I have a little row of peas there as well. Now this is my perennial kale, and as you see, a lot of them did go to seed, to flower. I thought that meant that they would not perennialize, but the gentleman said actually a lot of them do still live 5 or 6 more years, so I'll just have to wait and see. And that was my very sporadic original crop of carrots and some spinach and beets. My nicest stand of garlic, which I wish I would have put more here now, but I wasn't sure how they do here. And then my baby mustard greens, got a little row of them. More peas, sprouting broccoli, Chinese cabbage, and radishes. And then I've got a whole bunch of volunteer flowers as well coming up in different spots, so I'm leaving them unless they get too pushy. Especially these guys, they're very useful. Calendula. Oh, I have this guy. I missed him, obviously. He needs to go. So, let's see. We've got my perennial onions. That's the snow peas, but the perennial onions. We've got potato onions. And then my elephant garlic, which is really dividing nicely here. My volunteer cabbage family that keeps coming back. The shallots. And then this stand needs to be weeded and planted still. And then these are my baby garlics that I got from the seeds off the garlic scapes. Another section that needs to be done. And I actually have a few mixed chard plants in here to take the place of my chard from the old garden. So coming along. Along the front edge I have more tomatoes. It's not as sheltered a spot, so I decided to put jugs on them. And the wind will blow them away, so I just put a little hole in the side and use a landscape staple to hold them down. And then I seeded some peppers in the front. This is oca, so it's in the potato family. It's from the Andes, I believe. So they're little tiny tubers and nothing's happened yet. They'll sprout when it's warmer. More potatoes. And these guys I just put in here, so I had them inside and they were kind of just not getting enough light and nutrients, so I stuck them in the corner where nothing had come up. So I don't know if they'll survive or not. They'll probably get mad about the different change in weather. Alpine strawberries, more tomatoes. So this is my tunnel, which is starting to degrade in a couple spots. But you can see that my carrots in here have come along quite a lot more than the carrots in the first bed I showed you earlier. And I also have some kale, and I can't remember, planting something else over there that hasn't come up yet. Still waiting for these guys to go to seed. It's rocket, also called arugula, and I love it in garden for it just has a good smell, and it also, the bees love it. And then of course I like it in my salads as well. So I have forage plants, they volunteered. These are my climbing beans. So they haven't come up quite yet. And then this is more blueberries. I have corn on the end, it hasn't come up yet. And then this middle row, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in that chunk there. Probably some more tomatoes. And then this is squash. So I just planted them yesterday, so nothing's come up. And I transplanted some spinach into a spare spot. This just amazes me. I'm in zone 7 and I have dahlias coming up in this area. I overwintered them. I just didn't get around to getting them out last year and I thought they'd be dead, but they made it through the winter. And then this is, I've been working on a hugelkultur mound. It's not complete at all, but I just chunked some compost on top and put some squash in. And they'll probably do okay. Greenhouse, still standing. We had a lot of wind, so it shifts around a little bit. Basically, so I've got seeds started in a couple spots, and then the last of the winter crops are here. So, gosh, things weren't doing much, but now the peppers are just starting to germinate. This lipstick pepper's germinating now. The ground cherries are germinating, so some of them just need that little boost. And I've put in a row of Bella Rosa tomatoes. I just put the seeds in today, so we'll see what happens there. Cog Hill Farm kept talking about them, and even though I had all the tomatoes I needed, I ended up buying some of these because I was like, they just sounded so good when he kept talking about them. The Bella Rosa tomatoes came from Haas Tools. They have a lot of seeds still in stock, which is really exciting if you're having trouble finding seeds. If you check on Cog Hill Farm's YouTube channel, they have a code to try them for free along with your orders. So I was able to order some replacement seeds for next year. I was running low on my scarlet kale and some different things like that, and added these tomatoes, and I'm going to give them a try. I'm going to be getting my sweet potatoes maybe the week after. I have to start cracking on getting this area prepared. Rake out all the hay and pull out the weeds and top dress it with some compost and get it ready to go. Back there in the corner, I'm working on a little seating area. And then again, this was the landscape fabric that failed, even though it was supposed to be 15-year. So I need to pull the rest of this up too. Almost done getting it out of the garden, just in a couple spots still. That's about it. Hopefully all this water coming in and soaking in to my pathways will work the same as last year, and I won't have to do a ton of watering all summer. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out because I didn't have the raised beds last year. They were directly in the ground like this in these rows. Oh look, there's my teeny tiny bok choy. It's just popping up. So cute. Radishes are actually about ready to harvest. So I'll probably take them out tomorrow and then put something else here. So that's something to keep in mind. Even if you have a kind of small garden, you plant it up in the spring and you think, oh no, I run out of room, what am I going to do? But a lot of crops come in and out and you can replant. So like these peas aren't going to be productive all summer. As soon as it gets hot, they can come out, and a pepper or a tomato could go in this space. So just keep that in mind when you're planting your garden, that you can keep planting new things into it. And one way to make that really easy is to have seeds started for the next set of crops. So I am not always good at remembering to do that, but when I do, it's really nice to be able to just quickly replant something. Not quite big enough yet for my girl. Oh, that one is. Yeah, my girl is jonesing for a carrot, so Pippa needs a carrot. So that's why I plant a crazy amount of carrots, because my bunnies, especially Pippa, she loves carrots so much. What you doing, handsome? Isn't Moses pretty? Pippa, come eat your carrot. There she is. Oh, you dropped it. Did you find it? There you got it, Pips. Have fun. So I do have a few other gardening areas as well. Last year this was scarlet runner beans, but I was concerned that some of my girls might get a hold of some of the beans and get sick. So I decided to replace it with cucumbers. So this is planted with cucumbers. And then this was, basically it was every piece of rubble in the yard, broken bricks and blocks. And I built a hugel wall, and it's not completely filled still, but every year it gets better. So I put a few mounds in here for some of the bigger squash that I don't really want to put anywhere else. It keeps settling every year, so like that there needs to be filled in. But it's getting better and better, and eventually it should be all really filled in nice. So this is completely a work in progress. This is a first year garden. It was actually part of my pasture, and I need to mulch out all the pathways still, but basically I just have squash in these mounds.
That's the end of the garden tour. I hope you all have a blessed and beautiful evening.